Howdy everybody in YouTube land. Peekaboo. What we have in front of us today is a Tandy TRS-80 Model 4. Now, I don't know anything about this machine, and I've not tinkered with this machine since the day I bought it, which was in 2016. So, I've been sitting on this one for a while. It's a little rough. It looks like it's got some marks on the front here. We got a paint splatter on there. But the overall condition is not terrible. Just needs a little bit of cleaning. Also, the keyboard itself doesn't look like there's any key wear. So really, this thing hasn't been used much at all. And this got a weird pinging sound. The whole machine rattles. Anyways, so I don't know anything about this machine. I've never really used a TRS-80. Besides the Model 100, I've played with it, but outside of that, I've not used it. I don't know if this machine works. I don't know if there's any refas in here or anything like that. I'm sure there probably are, which is why I want to take it apart before I go any further with this thing. Also, I want to check to see if there's any upgrades or anything like that in here, or if it's just bone stock. I honestly don't know, but there's two floppy disks that came with it. Here's one. Radio Shack Super Calc. And this thing is heavily worn because you can see the ring scratches in the disc surface, the media. And this thing's dusty. It's been here for a little while. So we have that one. And on the top one, I don't know. I don't know what that is. Not really marked. But again, I don't know if these are... Wow, yeah, that disc is done. I'll be amazed if that one's even readable. So when a disc gets back sectors, that's typically why. So I don't know if that disc is any good. I don't know if it's a data disc, a program disc. I don't, these are the only two discs it came with. So, but before I power this thing on, a little bit of dust on the screen too, but before I power this thing on, I just want to get a gauge of its condition. I want to take it apart. I want to see what it's got inside. I want to check for refas. I want to do basically the basics. I want to go over it, go through it, make sure it's safe to turn on, and then attempt to turn it on, right? But man, this thing is massive. It's taking up my entire bench. So, from the little research I've done online, apparently the CRT neck board, if you're not careful, can get snagged against some other boards. So it has to be carefully lifted up and then set off to the side, which is going to be interesting to do when I don't really have the room up here. So I'm wondering if I'm going to have to move that over there or something. But really, I just want to take it apart. I want to clean it up. I want to check the lubrication, refills, the whole 9 yards before I fire it up and see if it actually works. So this might be a long video. This might be a short video. I don't know yet. So let's get into it. So here's the bottom side, which reveals all of the screws to take this thing apart. Plus, I wanted to look at the condition and see what it was, and I can see some yellowing where something was getting warm that caused the plastic to yellow here. And looks like this thing's been apart before. So someone has done something to this machine in the past. There's an expansion card in here that's got some spider residue. Spideys. I don't know what goes on those expansions. I haven't done any research on it yet, but let's see. What else do we have here? Serial number 4351. Don't know if that's late, early, middle of the run. So, alright. Product of Radio Shack. Man, what a time. Alright, so let's get some screws out and take it apart. Flavor Country. So, it's painfully obvious that this thing was left outside for many years, and it essentially became an animal toilet or insect toilet. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to tear this thing all the way down and clean it, which is why I wanted to take it apart and not just turn this thing on, because who knows what we're going to expect. So, there's the CRT section. It's got some hours on her. Not crazy, I don't think. It's hard to say, but it's got some hours on it. Yeah, that's all nasty. I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna have to clean all of that out. So, and I've had it in my house since 2016, so this is before that point. Um, Anyways, we've got a pile of original capacitors here. It looks like we have two of the same power supplies. Don't know why, but we do. And yeah, they're chocked full of reefas. Crackery dackery. That's gonna make some smoke. So yeah, that's gotta come out of there. As far as the rest of it, I don't know. They appear to be the same power supplies. Let's see, 12 volt, 100 milliamps, 5 volts, 2.5 amps. There's two 12 volt rails and then one 5 volt rail. Same thing over here. So they're using two separate power supplies. It makes me wonder, I bet. Yeah, that makes sense. I think. Yeah. They're using a separate power supply to run the monitor. Although that doesn't make sense because it also runs up here. Oh, I've never worked on a TRS-80. At least not one of these anyways. So I don't know what exactly I'm looking at. But can't be too hard to figure out. Looks like it uses current mode feedback. That's why that's there. Alright, well, I think we need to clean this guy up. So, see what we got in the board stack. I don't know if we got anything special in here or not. Because I don't know. Doesn't look like it, but I don't know what I'm looking for. So why don't we... I gotta take this thing apart anyways. I might hold on to this video until September. It'll give me a Tandy release. We'll see. So it seems like it's set up as a little sandwich. It's clearly been apart before. Perhaps someone worked on it already. And there's been a problem with it and it got shelved. Who knows? I don't know the history on it, but I picked it up locally, believe it or not. I picked it up back in 2016 with a few other little items. And this just happened to be in it. And the funny thing is, this was listed on Craigslist. And then this is what I went to pick up originally. This is all I wanted. And it was 75 bucks at the time, which is kind of expensive for me anyways. I don't know what they're worth now in 2023, but in 2016, that's what they were. That's what he wanted for it. So I went there, and I picked this machine up. But then the guy had a bunch of other stuff too. He just kind of threw in on it. I got a fully upgraded Macintosh 128K. I got an EduQuest 35 or 45 or something like that. And a bunch of other little things, all for the same price, which completely blew me away because I did not expect that. So, yeah, and he sent me his Macintosh Portable for me to fix, which I did, and I never heard from the guy ever again. So, 6 years now, I've been sitting on that Macintosh Portable, waiting for him to contact me back, which never happened. Man, there's ants in here. This was left outside. Holy mackerel. There's a lot of mods on this thing. There's a lot of patchwork. I wonder why that is. What is going on here? Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, there's no upgrade options or anything on this board, but there's a lot of something else going on this board. Well, it says 128K RAM. I don't know if it actually is or not. But yeah, there's a lot of mods on this board. A lot of bodges. That's interesting. The other thing I wanted to do too is get to the floppy drives. Because I think these are the same drives that are also in the Apple too. So I wanted to get them out and clean them and lubricate them and all of that stuff anyway. So, oh yeah. Ah, this is bad. Just what I was trying to prevent getting sucked up. Gets sucked up. Oh well. Alright, well. It's like I almost want to plug this thing and turn it on. But not without pulling those refas because, yeah, so we should start getting those out of there because I don't need a kaboomification on that. Because, yeah, now the other power supply, I don't know how I'm going to get to. Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to pull the drive stack out of here. Yep, I'm going to have to pull the drive stack out. Well, that's fun. Alright, so I had to pull all of that out and all of these shields out in order to get access to this, which exposes these two screws, which I don't really need to take off, but I'm going to anyways, because I'm going to wash this thing. And then these two screws, which are the ones that exposes that power supply. So now I should be able to get in here And hopefully get to that. This is like a fiberglass plastic. It's weird. It's very thick and heavy too. That stuff's not brittle. So, alright. Now, more barn find debris. Again, flavor country. 2/17/1984. If that's a date to be believed, I don't know. I don't know. Alright. Get that out of the way. I'm running out of spots to stash things. Okay. Something like that. Alright, keyboard. You plug in here. Which, I gotta remove that. But more importantly, I got the power supply now. I can actually get to it. Now I'm curious what's underneath this keyboard. Kind of has me scared a little bit. Magnetic. Let's see. Yeah. A little on the grossage side. You know what? This whole thing's gonna have to come apart because I can't have. Yeah. Amphenol? Is that who made that? Yeah, this thing's been like infested with something. I don't exactly know. All the crap pulling out of it. Alright, well, I'm going to set you aside over there. Kind of like out of the way. And then I think I'm going to keep going. Start taking this thing all the way apart so I can wash this thing out. Because it is just disgusting. Alright, so I got the bottom chassis washed right now. I didn't do a deep clean. I just did a quick wash so I can get all the critter debris and crap out of it because we don't need hantavirus or anything like that, right? So that's outside drying right now at the moment. But before we get too far down the road with that, I wanted to take a look at these power supplies. Now, the reefas, for sure, they have to come off. So I'm going to go ahead and get that warmed up and that warmed up. So those have to come off, but the capacitors, it doesn't look high hour, and they're from 82. It's a toss-up if they need replaced or not. These are not the leaking kind, that as far as I'm aware of. I could be wrong, but a lot of hi-fi receivers used this stuff back then too, so it's debatable. There's been so much debate whether you change these or not. Now, for me personally, I want peace of mind because I don't want to have to keep getting in this thing, right? So I want to do as much as I can while I have it apart. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace what I can. I don't have all of these caps. For example, I know this 100 microfarad 250 volt. I do not have those on hand. So I'm going to have to forego those right now. But I should have these two. And I definitely have all of these. So, and then the other thing I noticed right away is these two caps here are sitting right next to big heat producing resistors. You can see the scorching in the board where it's been warm. So that can't be good for those caps. So those two definitely are going to have to go. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pull all this crap apart and figure this out. Get these out of here too, especially. Alright, so I now have the power supplies done, with the exception of this cap here. and I didn't quite have the right value for these, but it's not critical. It isn't going to matter. Who cares? A lot of people even leave these out, but I wanted to put some form of EMI suppression back in here. But anyway, so all the caps are in there with the exception of these two. I'll have to make a note to get those in the future. But right now, all of the rest of them are changed and ready to go. So I think what I want to do next is I want to set those out to the side here. And I want to take a look at these floppy disk drives. So I don't know if they work or not. They probably do. Because from what it looks like to me, that these are identical to the Apple II floppy drives. It looks vaguely familiar. Actually, no, there's some differences. They don't have the motor PCB back here. March 7, 1984. And there's the belt, just like the Apple II. This is different compared to the Apple II. The belt still seems to be good. It's not stretched. It's not... I think I'll leave that alone. I think all I'm going to do with these is just clean them up, clean the dust out of them, and just lubricate the motor. Like, get a little drop of oil in that motor, work it in there, put a little bit of lubrication on the sled in there as well, and then clean up the dust and the heads, I think. I think that's all I'm really going to do to these. They don't really need much else. These are the Phillips caps. They do go bad. Not like that they leak. They go bad because they dry out from heat. So, but these axials are getting harder and harder to get. I'm probably going to save that until later, to be honest. But it looks like this is a very similar design to that of the Apple IIs. I keep hearing horror stories that these break. But break in what way? Anyways. Alright, so let's get this board out and let's start cleaning things up and getting things lubricated. Just a little bit of preventive maintenance stuff. Nothing crazy. Alright, so as I'm taking this drive apart, this thing's sheared on me and it's a funky... Yeah, anyway, so I'll have to fix that. But perhaps more importantly, the drive spindle is frozen solid. Like, you can watch it rock back and forth and it just stops right there. Yeah, you can feel it bump. So the spindle is frozen solid. And then, so there's some bearing issues going on there. I got this oiled up and it's all loose and there's no problems there. But I had to take this one off, the top clamp assembly, because that spindle bearing is frozen solid. So, yeah, we've got some issues going on here. Like, I can't even spin this by hand. I kind of can do it, but then it just stops right there. So, yeah, it's a problem. We're going to have to start tearing the bearings apart and see if I can't get some oil in those bearings and free them up. Otherwise, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm going to have to press those bearings out if they're bad. So, that guy could use a little bit of lube. It's not exactly free, but it's not exactly not free either, if that makes any sense. So, anyways, yeah, just more of that fun. Alright. Much better. It's a little bit growly, but not a whole lot I can do about that. Using a bit of zoom spout over there. Inside both bearings, there's a bearing on the bottom and a bearing on the top, and there's a spring in the middle. So that's done. I haven't done the motor yet. I'll get that last. But that's done, and then I went ahead and lubricated this and freed this bearing up. So now this spindle bearing here is good. Okay, so I already oiled this one. So the only thing left to do now is put a little bit of oil on the sled mechanism here, and then put this thing back together, I think. And we're good. And I got to do this to another drive. Oh, the joys of 30-year-old lubricant. Now, actually older than that. So this drive here is the second drive. I got the first one back together, and head's frozen on that one. Yeah. Actually, this drive's made in 82, I think. 83. So this is a 40-year-old drive. Yeah. Alright, I got everything all lubricated on this drive. Bearings are lubricated. This motor's lubricated. And what I like to do with these is just take my drill, bring it up to the right speed, just let it run right there. And what I do is I check the torque, and I hold this down. I can't do it because I'm holding the camera right now, but I hold this down and it slows the motor down. It's got plenty of torque. So the belt's good. It's all good. Cleaned all the oil up, and we should be ready to go. The head's free, so I don't have a problem with there anymore. Now there is a flat spot in this bearing because I can feel it. It wants to stop like naturally right there. So that has me slightly worried, but there's not much I can do about that. Sure, I could pull this motor and replace both bearings, but question is it worth it? Because this is not something I want to use daily, right? So yeah, so I could change both bearings, but then you got to redo the head alignment, and I'm not quite sure how to do that on these drives. With Commodores and stuff like that, there's a utility you can run and you can set and check the alignment. You can't do that with these, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong. I don't know. But anyway, so that's where we are with this. And yeah. So let's just continue moving right along. I want to clean all this up, get this out of my way, and I want to start looking at there. I want to get the CRT out. I want to get all of that stuff out. I want to check solder joints, clean everything up, check the capacitors, replace the ones that I can. The ones I don't have, I'll leave behind. And then try to clean that case up because it's kind of nasty. Alright, so the big issue with this one, at least blatantly, is there's this goo, liquid, and very sticky stuff leaking out from this anode cap. So, and it feels like it's like the plastic on this cap is degrading, and that's why it's that way. So, I have to clean that up before I can go any further with this. So, because I'm worried that'll become corrosive and start attacking the yoke. So, that's what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take this apart entirely. Because first I need to get in there. And oh, it's a cute little flyback. Little donut. Anyways, so I got to get this out, which means I need to get my Torx bit. I got to get all this out. I got to take the CRT out and clean all of that up because it's just nasty. So with everything out, it's much easier to work with, especially when it comes to cleaning this thing, because now I had to take this off, but now I can just pull this whole frame out. I had to take the CRT off first though, because of course they hid two screws right there. But yeah, see how nasty this thing is? It's easier to clean if the plastic is out of the way. So now I can just get in here and scrub this thing completely because it's disgusting. So, yep, it's a lot easier to clean when you get it all taken apart. Plus, I still got to get this paint off somehow. Haven't figured that one out yet. Alright, so, you know what's next? I got all of the parts washed up and drying off in the background right now. So, I think it is time to physically test the CRT, because why not? It appears to be an RCA 12 VCLP4, so it's white phosphor. It's not green or amber or anything like that. So I figured, why not? So let's plug you in. I don't know which socket it is. I think it's either 5 or 6. Yeah. I'm just going to go with 5. on. Filament set 6.3. Okay, so you're not drawing any current. Oh, yeah, you are. It's glowing. I don't know if this is a 6.3 volt tube or a 12.6 volt tube. I don't know. No shorts. Set gun balance. Okay, so we're going to set you there. Emissions. Not bad. That's pretty good. New registers in between the D. So I know what new tests like on this tester. So it's probably down about 20%. So we still got about 80 to 85% left in this tube. So, alright. That's good. So it doesn't have a whole lot of hours on it. Let's do a live test. Nah, it's falling off kind of quickly. So, not perfect, but it's doing pretty good. Now, this is the first time this tube has probably been warmed up for a while, so yeah, she's a little tired, but not bad. Not bad at all. It's usable, so I don't have to worry about anything weird with that. So, alright, I'm going to clean that up. I need to get a glue stick so I can re-stick these labels back on here. And I ain't got one. I need to go get one. I just need to go do it. I need to get two things. I need double-sided tape because I got to stick that back on. But I also need a glue stick for things like this. So, yeah. Alright, we're good. Everything's good. Alright, now with the CRT tested and completely out of the way at the moment, I figured I'd take a look at this analog board so I can determine if there's any common trouble spots I need to take care of and things like that. Now, unfortunately, just as like with the power supply, I don't have all of these capacitors because there's just so many random values that I just don't keep on hand, right? So there's 12 of them on here, and I have about 6 of those 12. This 1 microfarad at 150, this one at 350, I don't have. Here's one here, a 10 at 160, which I do have one of those, but it's one of those cheap, crappy, honkoidial specials, which I don't know if I want to put that in there. That'll probably outlast it anyways. Hell, it already has. Anyways, but I do have 6 of the other ones, so I think I'll just go ahead and change them and get them out of the way, because I got the board out anyways. I'll leave the others behind for now until I get the correct ones in, which means I gotta update my list, which is not that big of a deal. But perhaps more importantly, what I wanted to check out is what the solder joints are looking like on this thing. If there's any trouble spots that I need to take care of while we have it apart, which from quick glance, it actually looks really good. I'm surprised. Quite amazed, actually. But I think for peace of mind, I'll touch up a few things like the flyback and, things like that. But other than that, I think it's just simple little maintenance stuff. And then we can put this thing back together and see if it actually runs. So, yeah. It's nothing crazy, just simple stuff. But, alright. Let's go ahead and at least change 6 of the 12 that I have on hand, and then do some quick little touch-up soldering and get it back together. Alright, I changed what I could, and what I could not, I went ahead and wrote down a list so I can get that ordered and finish this project up eventually. But for now, I think it'll be okay. As long as none of these are open, of course, with what I have. And this is an oddball. 0.68 at 80 volt. You'd think you'd use a film cap there. But anyways, so that's done. But, just sitting back here, I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of fascinating to me. And it's probably just me being weird, but it's just fascinating to me, the artwork that goes behind PCB design and component design and manufacturing and layout. Like, this goes back to the, the 30s, 40s, 50s, early CRT stuff, but, like, it's just fascinating to me why, just the design, the layout, and the types of components they use, the physical design of the components, the concepts they thought of when they invented these parts. I don't know. It's just neat to me. All right, it's time for the reassembly process. I went at this with a magic eraser and cleaned it up as best as I could. The paint is starting to come off, and the areas where the paint has come off, the plastic has yellowed, especially right here where that gouge is, which you can't see it on camera, but it's right here. Yeah, so only so much you can do. There's only so much polishing you can do to a turd. But all right, time for the reassembly process. So, having used this glue, I decided to get the stickers put back on. So I'm waiting for those to cure. But while they're curing, I cleaned the face of this picture tube, and let me get this in the light better. There we go. The absolute most dangerous place for a picture tube to be is in somebody's lap. But hey, that's how we roll around here. Anyways, what I wanted to show is it's going to be very difficult to see on camera, but you can kind of see there's a little tiny bit of burn-in on this tube. So this thing has seen some use, quite a bit. So it was well loved in its early life. I don't know how I feel about that, if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but the point is, it was well loved. So, alright, okay, so I'm waiting for those stickers to cure. They've tacked up now. I cleaned the face of the tube, and there's some of that blue paint on the face of this tube too, so that's cleared off. The only thing left to do now is start reassembling these guys. So I got that all washed off. I got that scrubbed as best as I could. So it's time to start really putting this thing back together. Alright, so before I put this thing all the way back together, I think it's time for a smoke test. So, monitor's hooked up, everything's in there, power supply's hooked up, I just got everything all connected. So here we go. Oh, looks like it's already on. It's trying to read from the floppy disk. And yikes. No, we got no picture. Yeah, it's trying to read, but I got nothing. Now, this could have been the fault that I had before. I don't remember. I never played with this thing, so yeah, not good. Alright, well, I'm going to have to pull up the schematic and see what we got going on, because there is a problem there. Alright, so here's where we are. Finally found the schematics to this crazy thing, and there it is right here. So, we have this, which is a parallel in serial out 166 shift register, which is very similar to the UE8 that's on the SE30, right? So character data comes in and it gets clocked out and it goes over to this AND gate. Well, the other input of the AND gate is this, what do you call this? This enable clock register thing. I don't 100% know what's going on over here, but we have our inverse circuitry here, which I was chasing this, but I was chasing a red herring. So we have a graphic signal here, which is pin 4 of U2, okay? So pin 4 of U2 is right here, and that's working. So we know that's good. That comes all the way down to U26, okay? So this is an enable signal for U26, which is a 74LS08. And then this is our register clock. So if we look at pin 9 and 10 of U26, which is here, pin 9, there's our enable signal. Pin 10, there is our character pixel bit stream. Alright, so we should have something on pin 8, which is the output. Aha! Got nothing. So I have an input signal there. I have an input signal here. But I have nothing here. So our 74LS08 is defective. So while we're looking at it, let's check the other gates. So this should be an output here. There's something there. Input is high. And then that's the other input. So that is true. That gate is true. All right, gate number 1, input, we have a signal there. And gate number 2, we have a signal there. Or input, gate output, yeah, that's correct. So gate number 2, input 1, we have a signal. Gate number 2, input 2, we have a signal. Gate number 2, output, we have a signal. So all three, the other gates are working. With gate number 3, input, gate number 3, input, gate number 3, output. Nada. There we go. That chip is defective. So what I want to do, since it's stuck low, I want to check real quick. Let's go. Let's do a diode check or whatever. So I want to check the output and see if it's shorted to ground. No, it's not. I'm amazed. It's not shorted to ground. Alright, let's see if it's shorted to positive. Which I gotta do both hands for that. No, it's not. So, alright, well, it's just bad. So let's get this board out. How ironic is that? Let's get this board out and let's suck this chip out and replace it because it is defective. Alright, so I got the board out now and I just removed the chip, which is right here. Now, it should still be bad unless I heat scorched it and it did something internally to make it work again, but you never know because I've had that happen. Anyways, so I got that one. I also got a new one, but I want to test it. But before I do, I got to get up and get the programmer so I can plug it in and test it, which I just stood up to get this chip and went to walk, and I had the worst pain in my entire life. Just hit my lower back, and it hurts like hell, and my feet are tingling right now. So I don't know if I just pinched a nerve, slipped a disc, or what the hell I did, but I cannot move. So I'll be back here once I can actually physically move and go get the programmer. But yeah, in the meantime, I can just sit here and admire this board. And just the amount of bodges they did on this thing is extraordinary to me. Yeah, this is just, it's crazy. I guess this is just an early version board and they fixed it with a later revision. I don't know. But yeah, that's, And, oh god, my back hurts. Alright, so I got the programmer hooked up and got it in logic test mode, and look at that. It's testing, it's coming back as normal, which is weird for me. So I'm going to solder the new one in anyways, but I've not seen, I mean, that's weird. Now, I have seen where just simply heating the chip up with the soldering iron, and I had to grab pliers and twerk on it a little bit to free it up and pull it out. That might have remade a mechanical connection inside this chip. There could have been something wrong with that, but that is weird. That is so weird. So, alright, I'm just going to go ahead and put the new chip in anyways, because I don't want to put that back in and then realize, like, hey, wait, you know, so. Alright, well, let's try it anyways. Alright, so temporarily I just put a couple screws in here. I didn't plug anything else in here yet. None of these connectors, nothing. The only thing that's plugged in is just the power. That's it. That's all I want. So what we're going to do now is, I got the new chip in place. So I got to turn the power on. And check this pin again. So we're going to check input to gate. Oh, it's over here. Input to gate 1. Yep, that looks good. Like it did before. Input to gate. Input to gate. That looks good like it did before. Output from gate. Ah, yeah, that's certainly better. And if we look at the video signal going out, there we go. That's fixed. So we did indeed have a bad chip, and I wonder if flexing it temporarily remade a connection inside this chip. It had to have. Alright, so here we go again. Everything's all plugged back in. Power switch on. Man, that thing got bright. Let's see what it's doing. Do we have any picture? No. Wow, okay. Huh. Amazing. You know, the only difference is I plugged everything back in. Weird. Okay. I wonder if I got a bad connection on that board. Because that would certainly do it. Do I have anything at all? No. I lost it again. Okay. That's a strange one. I unplugged all the plugs. Back on the motherboard. Here we go. And also, had the contrast turned all the way down. But I thought never mind. I'm just tired. I'm so tired. We're done here. But it's working now. So I got to connect everything back up and find out, because something's not working. And I'm not sure what. Maybe I got this plugged in backwards. Who knows? But it's working now. Ugh. I think it all boils down to me just not knowing how to use this machine, because there's the super calc disk, which isn't doing anything. Yeah, it's trying to read it, right? But then I get black screen. Now, if I take this disk and put it in here and hit the reset button, see that? So, the machine's working fine. Yeah, so why? It's weird. So I guess I'm going to have to make discs for this thing, because that super calc disk does not read. Not anymore anyways. No. Now, it did come with another disc. So maybe... Oh, my back hurts. So maybe that's why. So I have this disc here, which I'm not sure what it is. It's not reading this super calc disc. So let me set it off to the side. Let me try this one, see if it's doing absolutely anything at all. I don't know. So, but I don't know how to get it into basic or anything like that. Let's see what that does. Not much of anything. Oh, there it goes. TRS-DOS 1.3. Oh, that's new. Okay. Profile 3 plus menu. Yeah, that's new. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's working. I mean, I wonder if I can format a disk from here. I bet I can. Huh. Data format time. Alright, so after tinkering around with this thing for way longer than I should have, I could have avoided a large chunk of this video because... Alright, the disk's in there, but it's not, connected or anything. And see, well, actually, never mind. Because now it's asking diskette. If I hit the reset, yeah, see, it was just staying black screen. But if I press the reset, the break key and tap the reset button, then it gives up and drops me into basic. So everything is fine there. So I don't know why. Yeah, see, now look at that. See what's happening here? It's black screen, and I think that's what was throwing me off, because there's no boot disk in there, right? So yeah, I think I could have avoided a large part of, replacing 74 LS08s and stuff like that if I would have just went break, reset, there it is. So yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I don't remember ever having this problem. But though, I'm not a Tandy aficionado. This is my first time playing with this machine, so I'm going to be honest, I'm really ignorant with this stuff when it comes to a Tandy, because I'm not familiar with it. So let's put a disk in there. And it's going to fail because that disk is not readable. Yeah. Not readable. Now, this disk here I formatted earlier. So if I put that in there and hit the reset button, there we go. So it's definitely working now. I mean, I don't have any more problems. Now, this disk here is, I think, just DOS. But I don't know. I got to make some disks. I got to find a machine to make those disks. Yeah, see, everything's working fine. It wants a date. Oh, come on. I don't like you. I don't like you at all. There we go. Yeah, it's working fine. So see if it'll go to DOS. Yeah, it does. Just like it did before. Yep. All right. So we're good. I'm waiting for another component to come in because I've got a high resolution board that I ordered for this. I want to put that in there, and I'm going to go ahead and get this thing back together. So that is it, I think, for this segment of the video. So we'll be back in a jiffy.